Hello, Half Size Me community. I am excited to be coming to you live from my kitchen as I'm making protein pancakes today. I just got back from the gym and I'm in the process of making a post-workout snack. And I want to talk to you about a couple things, okay? So the first thing I want to say is whenever I'm sharing what I'm doing or progress I'm making, I want you to know I'm never doing it from the place of I would expect you to be doing the exact same thing. I even tell my husband, I tell Joel all the time, I'm hesitant to tell anybody what I'm doing because I don't want them to feel like they should be doing it. I know where I was at I know where I was at various stages of the journey, and I wasn't always at a place, hey Jane, where I was able to do what I do now. So here's what I want to share with you, okay? So when I first started this, Heather back at 300 pounds, I couldn't track a whole day. I couldn't make it. Like, I got those little Weight Watchers booklets, and I would do breakfast, maybe lunch, and that was the extent of it. Then what happened was I got better at tracking. And then after I got better at tracking, I started saying to myself, I'm not really hitting my point target. So what if I actually thought about what I was doing the day before and I started to pre-track, right? So from somebody who didn't track to somebody who pre-tracked, then once I pre-tracked, I still wasn't able to do it. Like I would say, okay, this is what I'm going to eat for the day, and then I would randomly pop things in my mouth, right? So that impulse control, the binge eating, all those things played into it. So I had to work on all of those things. So then I got better at where I could adhere to those things. So now, okay, here's what I want to eat. I actually eat those things, minimal binging, minimal eating off plan. Then come calories and macros. So then I say, okay, I do much better on a higher protein diet. Let me prioritize protein. I didn't think about carbs. I didn't think about fats, just protein. And in this process, there was many points at which I felt resentment towards the actual process. Even for the last couple years, I have not been at a place where I was willing to track all three of my macros, protein, fats, and carbs, without resentment. I would wake up and I'm good with protein, I'll eat the protein, but when I realized, oh, Heather, you're going to be over on your carbs today, that means you have to not eat X in order to make it work, I was kind of giving it the middle finger and saying, no, I really don't care. I'm going to eat the carbs anyway, because I wasn't at a place of no resentment. So oftentimes people will say, hey, Heather, what macros are you eating? Or what exactly are you doing? That's the wrong question to ask. Don't ask what I'm doing. Ask what is required to do it without resentment. That's the question you want to ask. So if right now tracking for you is a resentful task, you're not feeling the willingness to do it with a smile on your face and you're happy and thrilled to be doing it, then that would be the point that you would want to be focusing on. Don't worry about macros. Don't worry about protein goals. Don't worry about any of that. If you don't want to hit the 30 points or whatever Weight Watchers gives you in a day without resentment, you're feeling a whole lot of frustration. You're saying, look at what my friend gets to eat. I don't get to eat it. You're upset because you have to give something up. Then work on that. Those things have to be in line before you can get to the nitty-gritty. So within the last, I don't know, maybe year and a half, I finally have made peace with this whole counting all three macros things. I've been doing this for 11 years. It's taken me that long to get past it. The reason I share this with you is because when you see somebody else's success, realize it's a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. Where they started is not where they are now. Okay, and they had to get past various stages of the game in order to get to there. So I'm finally at a place now where, oh, I'm going to be over with my fats today on my macros. I'm willing to give up the avocado. I'm willing to take off the sour cream. I wasn't willing to do that before. About a year ago, if someone had handed me the exact same set of macros, the resentment was there. I wasn't willing to do it. So somebody can say, eat this amount of points, eat this amount of calories, eat this macro ratio, if you're not willing to do it, it's a pointless system. You have to work on the resentment. What does resentment look like? It looks like comparing what you're eating to somebody else and feeling irritated or anxious about it. Not just like, oh, this is what I'm doing right now. This is okay. It won't always be that way. It's also, hold on one second while I flip. Protein pancake flip. Everyone loves that. It was the action moment. There's resentment about that. It really, like for me, hitting the protein, not a point of resentment. Hitting the fats and the carbs, I felt like I was playing a really cruel game of a puzzle where I was trying to make all the pieces work and I wasn't really wanting to do it or willing to do it. We have to get past that point of resentment, okay? And we have to practice all those other habits in order to build up to that point. So the reason I'm sharing all this is because I know that I shared today about making some success, and I know there's a lot of people who want to know what exactly it is I'm doing or what did those macros look like. And what I'm trying to tell you is it really doesn't matter. Pick any random set of macros. Ask yourself this question. Am I willing to weigh every morsel of food I put on my plate without resentment? Every cherry tomato, every baby carrot, everything, okay? Am I willing to do that? Again, a year or so ago, I was not willing to. I would weigh and measure all the big primary things, my meats, my fats, my dairy products, all that kind of stuff, but my vegetables, I wasn't willing to do that. I had to work on getting past the resentment. Hey, Roxanne, thank you for joining me. You have to find a way to get past the resentment you feel that holds you back. So be happy that you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can see someone else's success, see where they are, without feeling like you have to duplicate what they're doing. Focus, go inward and say, where am I feeling resentment in this process? Is it around the tracking? Is it around the weighing food? That was a big point of resentment for me. For the longest time, I could get by on eyeballing, and I could get by on kind of measuring with cups and utensils. When I had to transition into weighing on a food scale, resentment. I did not want to do it. I had to really make many, many weeks of errors before I was willing to do that. Breaking through the resentment, okay? That's the big key to all of this. So if you think one day you want to be able to do a certain program, you want to be able to eat a half a bag of Reese's Pieces, whatever, you've got to work on all the resentment you feel in the process to get to a place where you're really good with the process, okay? That would be my number one recommendation to everybody. Now, because I know a lot of you have been asking what I've been doing, I have opened my FitnessPal up, and that way you can see what I'm eating. I will share more about what I'm doing at a later date once I've played with it. My rule of thumb is before I share anything in the community that I feel is a worthwhile venture maybe for you, that I've tested it out pretty thoroughly myself. Once I know that it is, I'm going to, but I, again, am going to always add the caveat, some things are not good for everybody at every phase of their journey. You may not be at a place where you can micromanage 3 different macronutrients and hitting a calorie target. It may be way too much and overwhelming. You just focusing on tracking your food, getting some fruits and vegetables, and drinking water might be where you are without resentment. Notice how I keep going back to that word resentment. What is resentment? It's when you're fixating on what you don't have or what you want, and when you are thinking you need to give something up, kind of feeling like a toddler. This is how I feel anyway. You're digging your feet in and you're like, the heck to the no, I am not giving that food up. You are like, no, this is going down. If you're still in that place, that's okay. That just means that's your point of resentment you need to push through, okay? What's causing that? What are you willing to change and do? And ultimately, you know, allowing yourself to unfold in this process in a more natural way instead of trying to force yourself into it. You guys have a great week. I didn't see any questions. I think my pancake's about to be done. Hold on. Without resentment, just want to point this out. I'm eating a half of a portion of my pancake recipe because I want to save some of my protein macronutrients for dinner tonight, that I might have a bigger dinner than I'm thinking. So I actually cut the recipe. I actually did it without resentment. And that's hard for me. It really is. If you've ever struggled with the scarcity mindset around food, allowing yourself to have less than what you normally would have can be very hard. It's not something we naturally come by. We want it. We want it all. We want the supersize. We want the big. We want the all, right? So it's one of those. I have to talk to myself and say, Heather, is it okay that we just have a half of a portion, right? Can I do this? Hey, Kathy, can I do this today? And that's all you have to ask yourself. Can you do this today? Are you willing to do it today without resentment? If the answer is yes, then you're making progress, right? If you know that at one point you weren't. You guys have an awesome Saturday. Try to be cautious not to compare yourself to somebody else. Hey, Iris, focus on yourself. How can you push past the resentment you feel? How can you move forward in this journey? And don't ask the question, what is that person's calorie macro point target? Ask yourself, what have they done to get to a place where they can adhere to it? That's the question. How to push past the resentment to where you can adhere to your calorie point target. Yes. Julie just said she learned it's possible to cut a Quest bar in half. Yes, it is. And that's, hey, bravo. That's hard. Leaving it in that wrapper, knowing it's there, knowing you could eat it. I know that that's a struggle, right? I got to plate this sucker up. Hold on. So this is a first for me. Cooking while doing a live broadcast. This is awesome. All right, so protein pancake recipe. If you want this, it is in the portal. Go to the recipe tab. I swear to you, I eat these almost every day. This is only a half of a portion, just so you know, for those of you who are interested. Usually it's two big size pancakes. I'm going to top these with some natural almond butter and maybe some fruit. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful week. I got to eat this. I got to get a real quick walk in, and then I'm going to record a video for our upcoming waiting list for the community. That should be in about 2 weeks. We'll be opening up our waiting list. You guys have a great one. I'm so glad that so many of you joined me this morning, and I will talk to you soon.